Hello, calling of justice community. I'm Claudia Alec, and today we are reflecting on just because you skin folk don't make you kinfolk. This aphorism is an African American aphorism that is indicative of just because you belong to the identity does not mean that you are advocating for that identity. And this entire video is inspired by the YouTube algorithm suddenly serving me all this Black content that's actually anti-Black. So in the United States, performances of anti-Blackness are rewarded. Put Black violence, Black people being violent to other Black people or people being violent to Black bodies into your fiction, into your cultural production fiction, it will be rewarded. Suggest in your joke that the harm that the Black person receives is their own fault, it will be rewarded. Suggest in your language that Black people are less intelligent, are more prone to criminality, and all of these performances will be rewarded in the United States. Anti-Blackness is rewarded, especially when it's coded. If you can make anti-Blackness seem like it's something else, it will be rewarded even more. If you can make anti-Blackness seem like it's actually just anti-womanness, it will be rewarded. This is why performances of Black men being sexist to Black women are so heavily rewarded in our society. It's why most of the most heavily financially subsidized cultural productions feature Black people being violent to each other, Black people hurting each other. Anti-Blackness is rewarded in our country. So I'm treating my YouTube like it's a Tamagotchi pet. Like I think I can train the algorithm into giving me the content that I actually want. For some reason, it keeps serving me angry young white men, often from England, complaining about why women or Black people are in their favorite science fiction shows. I keep strategically liking Black content creators who are putting on makeup, who are cooking food, who are reflecting on books, who are doing every single type of content creation on this platform, but I cannot find them. I'm searching for them. Then suddenly George Floyd dies, and I'm guessing somebody inside YouTube decided to change something. Something was changed in the algorithm. Somebody decided to publish content in a different way, and suddenly I was seeing more Black content. Alas, though, it was a lot of content creators who were repeating anti-Black talking points and being published, the same 4 or 5 Black folks being published on a lot of white supremacy platforms. I would love it if YouTube would stop giving me this content, but it does give us an opportunity to reflect on a few things. One, none of us are confused. None of us think that identity is the only thing that brings expertise. None of us thinks that just because you're a Black person means that you have the ability to speak on behalf of all Black people. That just because you're a Black person means that you're bringing some extra to the conversation. We recognize that that's not the case, that racist people would like to act like the only thing we bring to the table is our identity, the only thing of value. But that's not the case, and we recognize that's not true. I can't say what's in the hearts and minds of a Silk and Diamond or a Candace Owens. They are financially profiting. They are being paid money to repeat these white supremacy talking points. They are receiving jobs in the world because they are willing to repeat these white supremacy talking points. They're receiving affirmation, like their arguments are good arguments when they're bad arguments. But I do wonder, are they really confused? Because I think about when I was a little kid, and I recall I did what I was supposed to do. My mama said, you know, you got to pick that up. And I picked it up, but I picked it up with attitude. I was like, I don't even want to pick this up. And she could tell that I was not actually acquiescing. Like I was doing it in the moment because I had no choice. But I would, given the opportunity, do something different. She saw that, she nipped it in the bud, and she punished me right then. Even though I had not actually broken any rules, she punished me because she could see that I was thinking about breaking a rule. That's what it is to live as a Black person in the United States. Can you imagine living in Memphis, Tennessee, where they murdered Martin Luther King? Can you imagine receiving, and I've received this. I told you a real innocuous story about my mama, but I've received this from a white person in authority, the punishment you received for doing exactly what they wanted, but doing it with just a little bit of attitude. You aren't allowed to have attitude as a Black person. You will be punished. And so if you're living in those conditions, possibly it's easier to live your life if you just believe these things. And generationally, if you've been raised by your parents to believe certain things about the world, because it makes it easier for you to do those survival strategies and not feel like you are actually working against your own people, well, then maybe it's not surprising that you've got some Black folks out there who are truly confused, who actually think that Black on Black crime is a thing. Now, we all know that that's a white supremacy talking point, a piece of rhetoric that was created specifically to distract from the fact that officers of the state murder Black lives at a frighteningly high rate in our country. But we understand why some folks actually sincerely think that they are arguing on behalf of Black people when they repeat that white supremacy talking point. But we're not confused. We understand. We understand what's going on. And we understand who gets put on stage, who gets given the microphone, who's being published. We can tell when you have a Black person presenting anti-Black talking points. We're not confused by this. Identity is not expertise. I'm thinking right now about how generally my perspective is I'm rooting for everyone who's Black, and how right now white supremacy culture has empowered some Black folks to harm my people, to harm me. But I get why they're doing it. It's because they've decided they're not my people. They've decided that their best interests are not served by helping Black people. They don't want to serve Black people. They want to serve powerful people. They don't think that they're part of the Black community. They believe they're part of the powerful person community. And they will say and lie. They will lie about history. They will lie about current events. They will lie about reality because it's going to enrich them, and that's how they're surviving in the world. These are survival strategies. Survival strategies surviving inside a genocidal and suicidal societal construct, white supremacy culture. Alas, though, inside white supremacy culture, you have to look at people's practice. You have to look at what they're doing. You can't just support someone just because they're your people. Because just because you skin folk, don't make you kinfolk. Thank you, Calling Up Community.